Hello everyone, welcome back to CloudOpsCraft. Today we are going to discuss about real-world Docker interview case studies. Okay, in our scenario-based Docker interview series. Let's start. Let me open whiteboard. Okay, first question. Container is a Node.js app. Okay, mostly they will not ask you to do it in front of them, but they will ask theoretically how you will do it. Okay, if that's this question, entry context will be they want to see if you understand the process of turning a standard app into a container. Okay, so let me explain first what we have to do. We have to identify the app dependencies. Okay, we have to identify the app dependencies, which is package.json. Okay, let me write it. Okay, okay, second thing is uh, just wait. Okay, okay, second thing is we will create a docker file with a suitable base image. For example, node 18-alpine, like that. Okay, after that what we will do, we will copy source code and install dependencies, which is npm install. After that we will expose necessary ports and we will define cmd or entry point to start the app. So how to answer an interview? I could use a lightweight node base image, and I'll copy the app and I'll install the dependencies, and I'll expose port 3000 and define a CMD as node server.js. This ensures reproducible builds across us environments. Okay, so the next question is migrate legacy app to containers. What and all challenges you will face? Okay, they will ask for challenges. Okay, if that's this question, interview context will be they want you to demonstrate problem solving for real projects. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain. First thing is legacy apps may have monolithic architecture, dependencies hard coded to host or rely on system packages. Second one is networking, storage and configuration may be tightly coupled. Third challenge is defining Docker file, handling persistent storage, managing secrets, and refactoring startup scripts. Okay, so how to answer an interview? Okay, I analyze dependencies, decouple them, and define Docker files with minimal images, and I'll use volume for persistent data and manage secrets externally, and refactor startup scripts for container readiness. Okay, next question, explain your production Docker setup. Okay, if that's this question, interview context will be they will assess your practical production experience. Okay, you no need to tell exact one, okay, what you are doing, but you can tell something which is similar to that. Okay, so let me explain. Minimal base images with security hardening, multi-stage builds for smaller images, containers readiness non-root with limited capabilities, logging to centralized system like ELK, Prometheus, Grafana, CI/CD, automated builds and deployments, health checks, monitoring, and restart policies. So how to answer an interview? In production, if I design, I use minimal images, run containers non-root and configure health checks and send logs to centralized systems and automate builds and deployments through CI/CD. We monitor metrics and apply restart policies for resiliency. Like that, you can explain. Next question: optimize container startup time of containers. If that's this question, the entry context will be they want to see awareness of images and application efficiency. Okay, let me explain. First, I suggest to use smaller base images to reduce pull time. Second is minimize number of layers in Docker file. And next is avoid unnecessary initialization scripts or heavy dependencies. Pre-compile assets or catchy builds in multi-stage Docker file. So how to answer in an interview? I optimize startup by using lightweight base image, multi-stage builds and catching layer efficiency, ensuring the container is ready quickly after deployment. Okay, so the next question is reduce image blot in enterprises environment. If that's this question, in the entry context will be the checks understanding of efficient image management. Okay, let me explain. First, we have to remove unnecessary packages, build tools and files. Okay, second thing is we have to use multi-stage builds to copy only production artifacts. Third thing is avoid storing secrets or temporary temporary files in the final image. Okay, clean package manager catchy, like you can use apt-get clean it. Okay, so how to answer an interview? I reduce image blot with multi-stage builds, minimal base images, cleaning catchy, and copying only production ready files into the final image. Like that you can answer. The next question is handle secrets securely in containers. If they ask this question, the entry context will be they test knowledge of production security. Okay, first thing is never hardcode secrets in Docker file. Second is use Docker secrets, okay, or mount secret files. Integrate with wallet or cloud secret managers like AWS secret manager like that, or Azure wallet. Okay, based on your cloud provider. Okay, so next is limit environment variables exposure and permissions. Okay, so how to answer an interview? I use Docker secrets or an external secret manager, mount them at runtime with restricted access, and avoid storing secrets in images. Okay, so the next question will be design logging for multi-container apps. For example, 10 container app. Okay, if they ask this question, interview context will be they will test the ability to architect centralized logging. Okay, let me explain. Use standard out and standard error for container logs. Centralize using ELK stack or Prometheus plus Grafana. Configure log rotation and retention policies. Include context. Okay, container ID, service name, environment, and all you can include. Okay, so how to answer an interview? I centralize logs using ELK, forwarding standard out and standard error from all containers, tagging each log with container and service info, and manage rotation to avoid disk extraction. Okay, next question. Deploying multi-container app using Compose. Okay, if that's this question, the entry context will be they will access understanding of orchestrating interdependent services. Let me explain. First, we will define services in docker-compose.yaml file, and we will include network and shared volumes itself, and we will use depends on to manage startup order. Right. So we will scale services with docker-compose up scale. Okay, this is the way we will do. So how to answer this in interview? So I define each service in Compose, attach volumes and networks, manage dependencies, and use scaling for services like web and front end. Okay, Compose ensures reproducible multi-container setups. Okay, next question. Scale horizontally using Docker. If they ask this question, the entry context will be they want you to show understanding of scaling apps. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, deploy multiple instance of a container, use load balancer to distribute traffic, ensure stateless services or shared storage for persistent data, monitor and auto scale using Swarm and Kubernetes if needed. So how to answer an interview? I scale horizontally by running multiple containers, replicas behind a load balancer. Stateful components uses shared storage, and the scaling is automated via KTS like that you can explain. Okay. So the next question is how you will handle container failure gracefully. If they ask this question, the entry context will be they will test resiliency planning. You can simply answer. Okay, first let me explain. We can use hyphen restart policies, okay, like always on failure, and we can implement L checks to detect unhealthy containers, right? You can even in Docker file you can provide you can use L check key key instruction, and you can set up L checks. Okay, and you can integrate alerting and monitoring, and we can automate failover for critical services. Okay, so how to answer in interview? I configure restart policies and L checks. Okay, monitor container status and use orchestration to restart or failover containers automatically. Like that, you have to answer. Okay, the next question is backup strategy for containerized apps. Okay, if they ask this question, the interview context will be they will check knowledge of persistence and recovery. Okay, let me explain. You can use volumes for persistent data, and you can use periodic backup scripts or snapshot storage, and you can ensure backups are consistent. Okay, stop app or use database snapshot tools. Okay, store backup securely off host or in cloud storage. Okay, these are all the things you have to follow. So how to answer an interview? You can answer like I mount persistent data in volumes, take periodic snapshots, and store backups off host. For database, I ensure consistent snapshots using native DB tools. Like that you can answer. Next question is Versioning and rollback strategy. If they ask this question, interview context will be they will check understanding of deployment, safety, and reproducibility. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, tag images with semantic versioning or git commit SHA. Use immutable images for deployment. Rollback by redeploying previous image tag, and you can maintain CI/CD artifact registry for traceability. Okay, so how to answer an interview. I version images using commit SHA or semantic tags, and we will deploy immutable images and roll back by redeploying a previous image if production issues arise. Okay, the next question is Docker in hybrid cloud setup. Okay, interview context. If they ask this question, they want multi-environment deployment understanding. Okay, the thing is, let me explain. Images run the same across cloud and on-prem, and we can use a centralized registry accessible from both environments, and we can handle networking, security, and persistent storage for cross cloud compatibility, and we can use CI/CD pipelines manage deployments to multiple targets. So how to answer an interview? I use the same Docker images across a hybrid cloud. I'll pull from a centralized registry and manage network security volumes to ensure consistent deployments. Like that you can answer. Next question, integration with Kubernetes migration. Okay, if they ask this question, the entry context will be they want knowledge of container orchestration migration. Okay, first what we will convert Docker Compose or Swarm definitions to Kubernetes manifest. After that we will ensure images are registry accessible, and we will map volumes and secrets to KTS persistent volumes or the secrets. Okay, and we will define deployment service config map and help props in KTS. So how to answer an interview? I migrate by converting Compose services to Kubernetes deployments, mapping volumes to PVCs, secrets to KTS secrets, and defining L checks for automated orchestration. Okay. So next question. Tell me about a Docker issue you solved. Okay, you faced and how you solved it. Like that they may ask. If they ask this question, interview context will be it's a behavioral and technical question to evaluate problem solving. Okay, so you have to pick a real world example and a failed container due to missing env or image blot or port conflict or resource limit. Okay, explain investigation steps like logs, inspect networks, volumes, everything you have to explain, and to show solution and preventive measures taken. Okay, so you can answer like this is sample answer. Okay, this is sample answer I created for this video. Okay, in one project a container kept restarting due to missing env. I checked logs, added proper defaults, and updated the Docker file and configured CI/CD to validate env. Postfix containers run reliably. Like this, you can create one scenario and you can answer. Okay, and if you are already working as a DevOps engineer, then you may already face so many problems. One of your problem you can explain. Okay, so it depends. Okay, if you are a fresher, you can tell that I am new to this, and while I am practicing I faced some scenarios that I'll explain. Like that you can say, and you can explain what are the issues you faced. Otherwise you just think and you explain accordingly. Okay, it's all up to you. Okay, it's just a sample question. Okay, if you like this breakdown, subscribe to CloudOpsCraft. We will simplify cloud and DevOps concepts every week. Thank you.